Yeah, I know. I'm a little late on this one. Gerald's Game has been on Netflix for about 2 months now or something like that. And I was planning on watching it. I just wasn't planning on doing a review of it. So I was like, yeah, I got a little bit of time. And so I watched it yesterday. And my lord, I really enjoyed this movie. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't planning on doing a review of this, but I really want to talk about this. So here I am. And so let's talk about it. So Gerald's Game is basically about this couple played by Carla Gugino and Bruce Greenwood. And they go to this cabin and try and reignite the flame within their relationship because it's kind of going downhill. So Bruce Greenwood brings on these handcuffs and handcuffs Carla Gugino to the bed like this, to the posts, and so she can't really do much of anything. However, as one thing leads to another, Bruce Greenwood ends up having a heart attack and Carla Gugino is stuck. She doesn't know what to do to get out of this situation because people don't know where they're at and the lawn is freshly cut. The maid just was at the house and so no one is coming to save her. And after a few hours go by, she starts hallucinating and sees an image of herself and sees an image of her dead husband, and she starts communicating with them to try and figure out how to get out of this situation. And this movie is really, really interesting. Like, I was surprised by how much I like this movie. But before I get into that, I haven't read the Stephen King book that this is based off of, and I feel like there was an adaptation before this movie, but I didn't see that either. So I pretty much went into this movie blind, and I am very glad I did. I am seriously glad I did, because this movie, it had a lot of tension that just weighed down on me throughout most of the film. I don't know if that was necessarily their intention, but I loved it. I loved having that much tension. My only problem with the movie really is that I felt like there was a little bit too much tension, because I just wish there was like a little break, because I felt like I just needed a breather. Like, there was just needed to be one moment where I could just breathe and just feel okay. But there wasn't really that for me. It's just, they kept that tension cranked up, at least for me. Like, this movie was very good. I mean, it's got great acting into it as well, because Carla Gugino is probably one of the best performances of this year. Like, seriously, she did fantastic in this role. And then Bruce Greenwood, he did really well as well. He wasn't as good as Carla Gugino, but Bruce Greenwood definitely was really good addition for this role. And Carla Gugino, like, seriously, fantastic. It's just great acting from both ends. Yeah, it's just really good. It's an interesting story as well, because it's kind of unique, to be honest, because you're primarily shot in this room where she's handcuffed, and it's just her trying to get out, essentially. But she's also hallucinating, which makes the movie all the more interesting, and she's got a complicated past that we dive into some as well. It's just interesting. I probably can say that a lot about this movie, is that it's just interesting. And it's tension heavy. At least it was for me. And it was good. I really like this movie. I really, really do. And so, like, honestly, I didn't think about it until after the movie ended. I was like, I wonder what genre this movie is. And I looked it up, and it was a horror genre. I'm like, really? Huh. And then I thought about it more. I'm like, yeah, I guess I can kind of see this as a horror movie. It's just not a horror movie in your stereotypical sense. There's not like jump scares all around or this creepy music that's being played. But instead, it's just got some creepy freaking scenes. And I won't go into that because it's kind of spoiler territory, but it's got some creepy scenes that it's not like your typical scary movie. I really didn't even think about it being a scary movie until afterwards. That's the type of this movie is. It's really good and it's unique. And like, there's sometimes where it's like from her point of view while she's laying there, and it's just the situation that's going on around her at that point in time. I was just sitting there thinking, holy crap. If I was in this situation, I don't know why I'd be stringed up to a bedpost by handcuffs, but besides that, if I was in this situation, I'd be freaking the freak out right now. Like, I would have some serious anxiety if I was in this situation. That's just this type of movie. I mean, like the ending, like towards the end of the movie, they do something that I wasn't a huge fan of at first because it feels kind of unrealistic. However, what they do after that makes it okay to me because they can't really do that without what they did that I didn't care for, but what they do afterwards makes up for it, and I'm okay with what they did here. And so, overall, I really have very little problems with this movie. I really, really enjoyed it, and it's definitely one of the year's best for me. It's definitely in my top 10, without a doubt. And I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 9, and would be worth seeing at full ticket price, which really doesn't make sense considering this is a Netflix film, so I guess it's worth a month of subscription from Netflix. I really don't know how to do that, but, so I almost gave this movie a 9 out of 9, if I'm honest, because after this movie, I was shook. I was speechless. Like, I wanted to do my review right after I saw it, but I couldn't bring myself to do it just because I was just like, I was speechless. Like, this was a movie that really hit me hard, and I really, really enjoyed it. So you may be asking yourself, why didn't you give this movie a 9 out of 9 then? It's because this movie, I've seen it yesterday, not even 24 hours ago. And I feel like it's already starting to fade from my memory. I don't feel like this movie is all that memorable, and I feel like a movie that is worthy of a 9 out of 9 stands through the testament of time. And you can think back a year afterwards, what was my favorite movie of 2017? Gerald's Game. Now, I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm just like, I want to be able to say that every single time with a clear memory that that was my favorite movie. That was the movie that hit me the hardest. However, I don't know if I can say that. I want to, but I don't know if I can. I'll have to see how some time goes by. Maybe by the end of this month, I can decide, yeah, I think this movie's going to stick with me. But maybe it won't. I don't know. I very well can bump it up to a 9. I'm still kind of tempted, but we'll see how the time thing goes by. And honestly, you guys may be sitting there thinking, this kind of sounds like a 50 Shades of Grey movie. Let me tell you, just because she's handcuffed to a bed does not mean this is a 50 Shades of Grey movie. Because, like, this movie is so much better than those movies. Because those movies they're not good at all. They're pretty bad. But this movie's really, really good. And so I highly, highly recommend you guys checking it out. And so I hope you all enjoyed this. And if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel to see more content like this. And remember, no movie is a perfect 10 out of 10. God bless you all.